Hello, football fans. You are now in the war room. Good evening, boys.
Good evening.
What's going on, everybody?
Tim from Answer the Call. Joining me are the co-hosts, boys.
I am Corey from Shovik Sports.
And I am the brother Austin, also from Shovik Sports.
And I am the brother Cody from Drew Code Sports Talk.
And I am the fourth Shovik brother, Orange Crush News, Matt.
Whoa. Apparently, Shovik Brothers just kind of got expanded by a couple. All right.
I was adopted.
My dad has a lot of explaining to do.
Couple, best friends with a couple of famous guys over here, just twice removed from a cousin's side. That's all.
Oh, wow. Guys, this is the AFC West War Room. You know, I represent the Chargers. The Shoviks represent a team. Cody represents a team. Matt represents a team.
And I'll be honest, I represent the Broncos.
And I'm the Chiefs. Man, I almost forgot.
The Chefs. And I'm representing the Raiders.
And I, too, am representing the Broncos.
All right, boys. So we have a couple of fan questions to answer on this episode, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We do have Austin's question of the week. So my man, Austin, get us started, man.
Right on. All right. So my question is, who do you guys pick as the most likely first round bust of this previous NFL draft?
Oh. Who's starting?
That's a good one. Who wants to kick it off?
I'll start just because I told you guys before we came on here that I had it narrowed down to a couple, but if I go first, then I can get it the hell out of the way. And my first round bust. And honestly, now that I think about it, it should have been a no-brainer. It's Jamaal Stewart for the Bengals. Yeah, dude, he was taken 17th overall. Honestly, you go look at what he did at A&M. He wasn't even, in my opinion, the better of the A&M defenders. The Bengals obviously have issues on defense, and I don't think that this makes them any better whatsoever. So for my first round bust, I'm going 17th overall pick, Jamaal Stewart, Texas A&M.
Nice. You know, I actually agree with you on that, Corey. You know, when we were doing our rankings and all that and draft winners and draft losers, I remember that the Bengals came up a lot because they drafted Jamaal Stewart, and he didn't have the production at A&M like you said. So well said, man.
Thank you.
Anybody got any pushback on that?
No, that's actually the name that I put, Jamaal Stewart. I think you guys covered it. The production wasn't even there. It's another one of those combine warriors, right? Posted good measurables and athleticism. That's really why he went there. But the production's not there, and to go that high, to me, it just increases the likelihood of becoming a bust, right? There's nothing wrong if he comes like a Jadeveon Clowney type player. I think that's the ceiling for him, like a really decent player, but just not worthy of this high of a draft pick. So. It was a no-brainer for me. That was honestly when I thought of the question, it's who I thought of first and didn't even go look at anyone else because I thought it was just a no-brainer. I even saw the video of when Joe Burrow introduced himself to Jamaal Stewart. He finished it off by saying, "Hey, get some sacks this year."
Wow.
He probably said that because there's no other defensive player that's going to help him right now because obviously the Bengals don't even have Trey Hendrickson re-signed, and so Stewart, who, like what Joel from Three Guys just pointed out, only has 4.5 sacks in his 3 years of college, which is little to no production in a you would think in an atmosphere where you should be dominating. So, I mean, coming in as a first-round pick, that's high expectations, and the Bengals need like a savior. And I would echo what Corey and Austin said. I don't know if Stewart is the savior for that defense this year.
I'm going to say I think we're all on the same page here because I too had Jamaal Stewart. Obviously my twin brother Corey. I just shaved my beard, but Yeah, I said Shamar Stewart as well, and not only for the fact that he had 4.5 sacks in his 3 years in college, but look what he's doing now. I get why he's holding out, but again, at the end of the day, you're a rookie, dude. Like you're not gonna get like that top contract your rookie year, especially with what you did in college. So he's holding out. He's expected to hold out the rest of OTAs and mandatory camp and whatnot. So say they do get a contract lined up, he's already late in the game trying to learn a new NFL scheme. And NFL is more fast-paced. So trying to learn a new scheme, and you're already this late in the game, dude, like I'm not expecting big things from him.
I will say with the holdout, though, the Bengals are not surprisingly lowballing him.
I get it, yeah.
Just given what that draft slot usually gets. Now, I'm with you. Like, you're a rookie and you don't even have production to try to like negotiate with here, right? You're a rookie with no production. We are lowballing you, but come on, like go earn your next paycheck. That's what we should do.
Exactly.
So Cody, did you pick Shamar Stewart as well, or did I miss that? Or
well, I was actually going to pick somebody else, but I'm just agreeing that Shamar Stewart on my list was pretty high. Like, if he was my guy, I would definitely have an honorable mention, and I would actually say Jackson Dart is somebody I think might be a potential bust, only because obviously when he came into the draft, he was kind of touted as like a second, maybe a third round pick, and then all of a sudden he's kind of shot up to the first round based on potential. And I'm not saying he's going to be a bust like a Ryan Leaf or Jamarcus Russell, Oakland Raiders, great, but what I'm meaning is like maybe that first round moniker pick may not be as great, because like I look at a team like the Chicago Bears, they had drafted a guy, I'm forgetting what his name, I think his name is Rex Grossman, that led them to the Super Bowl, and he was a first round pick, but he wasn't like first round talent. And I think Jackson Dart, I'm not saying he's going to be in that same respect, but maybe his career is similar to that.
Okay,
he's going to be the best quarterback out this draft.
Yeah, honestly.
So,
you think so?
I do, and I think he should have been drafted higher. I do, just based on what he was able to do at Ole Miss in SEC competition and what he was able to do there. I still think Daboll's a good head coach. He wasn't really given much to work with. And I also think Jackson Dart's set up for success based on what they have around him. Yeah, I get it. They don't have too much of a run game. And I'm not quite big on Cam Scatterbury quite yet. But
whoa. Cover your ears, Jason.
Yeah, I know. Jason's going to hate me after my take with Jackson Dart, actually.
And I've actually been on front with that. But you have Malik Neighbors. You have those guys, Hyatt. So I think he is absolutely set up for success with the Giants. And I think he, in fact, close to being maybe Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, the one reason I can agree with you, Cody, not to just have a bunch of like Jackson Dart shade throwing your way. The only reason I can hop on board with that is because I know it's middle to kind of later first round, but me as a fan, I've always liked my first round pick to be someone who's going to come play right away.
Mm-hmm.
So if he takes, a year or two to crack the starting quarterback role, it's going to make it harder for him to kind of shed that kind of company you said he would be in, right?
Right.
So making it harder for him to live up to that draft potential. But if he's able to get in and start relatively soon, if you don't believe in what is it, Russ and Jameis.
Yeah.
But no, so I can agree with that. If it takes him a couple years, it's going to be hard for him to shed that label. So I can get that angle for sure.
Okay, so Jackson Dart was your player, Cody, or was that your honorable mention?
No, I'll just say my player. Why not? I'll take the heat on it. That's fine.
Okay.
There we go.
I'll stand on it.
Okay, and Matt, you agreed with the brothers and Shamar Stewart?
I did, yep.
Okay, well, here comes mine, boys, and buckle up and get ready because here we go. My first round bust is Matthew Golden.
Wow.
I think the only reason the Packers took him was to please the fans. Green Bay hadn't taken a wide receiver in the first round since I think 2002. I mean, I was in high school. I know that. So I think with the draft being in Green Bay, I think the pressure was really on them to make that splash pick, and they went out and got Matthew Golden. I think he's a good receiver. I'm not taking anything away from the kid, but I don't think he had that first round talent. And I think just because the draft was in Green Bay, maybe the front office is like, oh, we got to take a wide receiver or we're not going to make it out of here. So for me, it's Matthew Golden. Also, I want to point out it is really crowded in Green Bay. Okay. Crowded wide receiver room. You got stud running back who could, play key factors into, him not getting the ball as much. So that is all factors on why I think Matthew Golden can be a first round bust this season.
Yeah, I like your point of it being in Green Bay. It's kind of similar to when the draft was in Kansas City. The Chiefs kind of took the local kid from K-State, kind of just feeling the pressure from it, right? And he really hasn't, a few years later, really hasn't done anything. So I think that's a really good argument of they kind of just wanted to please the fans with the draft being there. So I like that a lot.
Yeah, actually, right. I'm gonna say that that's a pretty good at least pick on your end, Tim, because Matthew Golden, who knows what he'll turn out to be, whether it's good or bad. I think a point that you made that was really good was about Green Bay's receiver room. Like, really, like, what do we got here? Like, we have a bunch of guys that might do really good in like a role setting, but what does that look like? Like, who's the number one option? Who's the guy that they can rely on? Matthew Golden, does he come in as the number one guy? It's just like, it's fine to have a wide receiver committee, but at the same time, some teams flourish off of having that number one guy. Even our respective teams, we kind of know who the number one guy is, respectively, like who to throw the ball to. But in Green Bay, I couldn't tell you who that is. Is that Christian Watkins, who's never on the field? Is that Reed? Is that Golden now? Who knows what that looks like?
And I want to point out, that the head coach and even the offensive coordinator came out and reassured Jaden Reed that he was still going to be the wide receiver one in Green Bay. So, I mean, they drafted him in the first round, and you're not even going to put the wide receiver one, label on him. So, I mean, I don't know, that all that just kind of spells disaster for Matthew Golden this season.
Yeah.
They also have those injuries with those receivers too. Like, you look at the last few seasons, they've had at least one or two guys go down, and I know a couple of them may be coming up on contracts, and there's no way that they're going to get what they think they're going to get for it. So, I mean, I somewhat agree with it, but I kind of also understand that they do need help receiver wise, just based on, you want to get your young quarterback set up the best that you possibly can. So, but yeah, I mean, I get it, and I don't just completely disagree with that being your pick.
So with that kind of reasoning, though, do you feel kind of similar with Emeka Egbuka? I mean, he's going to a place that has like Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, McMillan came on late last year, and if he has the talent,
so
obviously.
My pushback on that is look at the crowded wide receiver room that he had at Ohio State, and he still dominated. Matthew Golden didn't have a whole lot of competition. Yeah, he had Xavier Worthy, and yeah, he had, the Isaiah Bond this past season. But, in terms of real deep competition, Matthew Golden was the wide receiver one in Texas. Egbuka was not even the wide receiver one at Ohio State, and he still made it into the first round. So I think he's in a better situation. Now, I don't know if Egbuka will produce this season. So, yeah, maybe this season he would be still classified as a first-round bust. But for me, it's definitely Matthew Golden.
I think to continue on Austin's point, though, I think what's the difference between the two is Egbuka isn't asked to come in there and be a wide receiver one because, again, you got Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Even if Chris Godwin doesn't come back healthy, you still got McMillan, who's there, who can be either the two or serve as the one whenever Mike Evans isn't there. And you really don't have Egbuka to be like the number one guy to come in, where Matthew Golden, you can make the argument that, again, a first-round receiver, first-time picked, really in a long time of this Green Bay franchise, maybe he does have more pressure to come in and really take over, where, again, in Tampa, that's not really the situation for that rookie wide receiver, just because, again, it's a little bit different of a setup. So I kind of agree with Austin. The pressure, it sounds like it's the same, but in terms of situations, one is almost kind of being asked to come in there as the guy, and the other one kind of has time to develop, and he's not asked to be the guy, but he's definitely the future, along with McMillan, to win whenever that future plan is enacted, like now you got a dynamic duo to continue with either Baker Mayfield or whatever, quarterback that they either pick up or draft along the way. So I kind of agree with Austin's little point there. Maybe Mbuka is on the list, but in a different respect.
All right. So Matt, do you have anything you need to add onto that before we move on?
Yeah, so another thing too, Matthew Golden was a good call too, because if you look at Matt LaFleur, he runs a fast-paced offense. Jordan Love was sacked 10 times last season and 142 pressure passes, and the reason he's so good at that is because of that quick release too. So Matt LaFleur likes fast-paced, quick release. Let's get going. Let's move the ball. So how well is Matthew Golden going to pick up that offense and be able to find his place in there? Especially with the team that, it's designed for Jordan Love. So, again, so where does Matthew Golden fall into that? Hey, he might pick up the offense and hit the ground running, or again, I think it's like a high risk, high reward kind of thing. So we'll see where he falls in that place.
Tim, I have a funny note for you if you're ready for it.
You have a funny note?
Yeah. So I was doing some research earlier today. And hold on. I was doing some research today, and I actually wanted to know what ChatGPT's response would be to, like, over the first round pick of the 2025 draft, who has the highest risk for being a bust. Can you guess who that player was?
Amari and Hampton. You wouldn't have singled me out if it wasn't Hampton.
No, it was Ashton Jeanty.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
So here's the notes.
I think the reason for that.
Here, let me tell you what ChatGPT said, so that way I can explain it. By the way, from our argument from episode 1, your points were actually noted on here too. So one of the points that ChatGPT brought up was positional value. The fact that a running back going 6th overall is a very high draft pick for a position that does not last very long in the NFL in terms of shelf life. Second, when this was to your credit, Tim, the competition level at Boise State, it said, is lesser because of the Mountain West compared to like the SEC or the Big Ten. Hold on. Don't get too excited because Hampton didn't play in either one of those as well. So let's make a note of that. The third one, and this one is the one where I can see this as a Raiders fan as, yes, there's a lot of excitement for this player, but also like, is this player going into a good situation where they can thrive? And that's the Raiders offensive line and their offensive identity. Those are two things that they're questioning. Is the offensive line well equipped enough to handle a run game that Boise State had, or at least one that can create openings for Jeanty? Also with its identity, are they going to fall away from the run game? Or are they going to rely heavily on the pass game? Those are a lot of factors where that's saying why Jeanty might have the highest risk compared to where he was drafted at 6.
Wow. Yeah. I really thought it was going to be Hampton after when you were like, oh, you ready for this? I was like, oh yeah, you singled me out for a reason.
Tim, I thought you'd love the note.
Tim, you chat GPT'd this before your rankings. That's too. It lines up too well.
What's that?
you chat GPT'd your rankings. It lines up too.
I did not.
Well, then we got to sit here and say Timmy's smarter than AI.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Damn, Tim. All right.
Well, it's because he knows ball. That's why he answers the call.
Right, yes, right. All right, so we're gonna move on.
Hang on, I do want to point out real quick that Jason made a comment earlier about Tyler Booker. It was down to Shamar Stewart and Booker. Simmons, the Chiefs pick, was an honorable mention that I had. So, yeah, Tyler Booker was definitely on my list of a possible bust.
If we would have kept it just AFC West, I would have probably picked Simmons, only because of the ACL injury.
Same.
I still think that Tyler Booker one is a sleeper of a good pick of a potential bust, and it's from a Cowboys team draft pick, and so that would even be funnier because they draft offensive line and it doesn't go so well.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we had a post on Instagram, the AFC West War Room, and we were asking a question. The fans ask us a question, and we'll answer it. And we got 2 of them, and we got 2 good ones. And the first one is from Cheesehead and Bear Pod. And it was, who will have more receiving yards this season? Lad McConkey or Brock Bowers? Matt, the floor is yours.
So this one, I honestly have been going back and forth all week because part of me wants to say Lad and the other part of me wants to say Brock. And you know what? After picking on Cody all last week, I'm gonna show him a little bit of love, and I actually had to go with Brock. If you think about it this way, Brock actually set a rookie record, broke Mike Ditka's rookie record with basically nobody. Like, Aiden O'Connell and Uncle Rico, aka Gardner Minshew, broke the tight end, receiving yards record with nobody. Now he's got Geno Smith. And I don't want to say he's like an elite QB, but Geno is definitely a huge upgrade than what he had. And now you actually have a very competent head coach. I think we're all pretty high on Pete Carroll. And, Pete Carroll does really well with tight ends if you think about, Jimmy Graham in his career. So I'm going to go with Brock Bowers on this one. I think Brock Bowers is going to have, more receiving yards than Lad McConkey.
Well said, man. Well said. Cody?
This one is a really tough one. And I appreciate, Matt, for you showing me love after you picked on me last week. So I appreciate that.
Don't get used to it.
I didn't say that the war was over. I just said I appreciated it. But here's where I will say, I think one of the things that I'm concerned with when it comes to the two is I look at all the stats specifically for Brock Bowers. I see that he had 112 receptions. And I've been on record to say that I don't think he's going to duplicate that again. That's a very hard stat to continue to do, which means like out of 112 receptions, just a shade under 1,200 yards came from that. So it's a lot of volume, and Lad McConkey was only 50 yards away from matching it, and he had 30 less receptions. So unfortunately, as much as I love Brock Bowers, if you were asking me a fantasy football question, I might answer it differently. But in terms of receiving yard, like in the season, I would have to say Lad McConkey. And I think what helps is because of the drafting of Amari and Hampton, so it really changes the dynamic of the offense, and Trey Harris, who is an argument to being like a legit number 2. So now Lad isn't seeing the best coverage or the way that offense can scheme. He can get open. Whereas Brock, he's going to be in the trenches. He's going to be pass protecting. He's going to be out, run blocking, or he might be settling in there. And tight ends typically aren't known to be receiver juggernauts. I mean, sure, we have Travis Kelce, but Brock Bowers may be similar to that. But to redo 100 receptions in a year is very difficult to do for a tight end. So I'm just respectfully going to say it's McConkey, but it's only because it's based on like this particular stat, receiving yards, because if it has anything to do with fantasy, I could make a better argument for Brock Bowers overall in fantasy points, but in receiving yards, I'm going to have to give it to Lad.
Lad. Okay. Austin?
Yeah, I'm going to go Brock Bowers. I actually I hear what Cody's saying, but I feel like they're actually going to be able to work on some more down the field throws with Brock Bowers now that they, again, to what Matt said, have quarterback who can do it now. I think you mentioned, Chargers would be able to scheme up Lad a little bit. Well, I think Pete and his staff are going to better help Bowers as well. I still think Bowers will get 90 to 110 catches. Like, you're not going to not game plan for it, right? Now, it's going to give or take, but I think the yardage is going to go up even if the receptions go down. And then I'm also picking Bowers because I don't think Lad even leads his team in yards this year.
Wow.
Y'all already know how I feel about Trey Harris. So I think Trey Harris leads that team. And Lad's going to be that sticks guy, right? It's 3rd and 7. Go run a little 7-yard option route, and then you're good. And then Trey Harris is going to be down the field. But I think it's Bowers. I think to all the points Cody said for Lad apply to Brock Bowers as well. And Brock Bowers he did this at Georgia. He did it rookie year with the Raiders with nobody throwing to him. He's still going to get better and better. So it wouldn't surprise me if Bowers actually finishes top 3 or 4 in the league in receiving yards.
Wow.
I mean, I'm hoping for that because that means the Raiders had a good season. So we'll see.
Or bad because they had to throw a lot.
Oh,
I'd like to think we're running up the score on a bunch of people.
Maybe a Madden on all rookie.
Hey,
that's
I
what
told
Austin
you stop
plays
watching
on.
my games.
That's what Austin plays on. All rookie.
Only against the Yankees, remember?
Putting up
Corey,
27 in the first inning.
Give us your thoughts.
I think both have a slight regression, and I think that's just based on coaching and what they want to do first. Both are going to want to run the football first, and I think when you add Najee Harris and Omarion Hampton, that just means Jim's going to want to run the ball more. Sorry. And that could still play a good part. And like what he said, they would want to push the ball down there. But I think with both coaches wanting to establish the running game, you go out, you get running backs to help with this. So I do think a slight regression. I still think they're both 1,000-yard receivers. Don't get me wrong there. Do I think they get 110 and 82 catches? No, but I think they still get close, right? But I still like McConkey here just based on what he's able to do. I think with Bowers now, there's film. Teams are going to the defense is going to try to scheme it. They're going to try to bracket cover. So now they're really going to need Jacoby Myers, some of those other guys to really step up, or they could even try to maybe stack the box, which I think would be stupid if they tried to do that to stop Genty just to open up Bowers more. But yeah, I do like both situations just based on who Harbaugh and Carroll there. I just think scheme-wise, you see a little bit somewhat of a regression, but I'm going to go with McConkey.
Yeah, I think even their intro video, though, I think
that pass interference.
No, I mean they schemed it up and had PS2 on Brock Bowers, and he still mossed him.
Yeah,
like
right.
Pass interference.
Yeah, you say what you want, but it still counted.
He fell. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it still counted as yards. So I don't know. I've always been a fan of tight ends, so that might be even why I just said Bowers. Like if you ask me who would have more yards. I don't even know Chargers tight end at this point. Is it Disley still?
Yeah. Will Disley's one of them, but
yeah,
he's not the starter.
Stone Street and the other one, right?
Tyler Conklin is one, and then we drafted Aronde Gatson.
Yeah, so even if you ask me if like Disley or Jacoby Myers would have more yards, I might even pick Disley just because he's a tight end. Like I love tight ends and what they can do for offenses. But my entire life, I watched like Tony Gonzalez, and then like,
and he's still not going to pick Will Disley.
I might, okay. Like I just
he's thinking about it. That's the point. Yeah. He's thinking about it.
But I don't know. Brock Bowers did it everywhere though. Like college, they game planned for him, and he was still open. Say what you want about PS2 getting shoved, yards. So like, the dude is a matchup nightmare, and he's just in his prime. And I hate the Raiders, obviously, but I'm actually excited to just like watch Brock Bowers.
Yeah, I mean,
he's a unicorn. It's someone you want to watch.
You can like a player even though he's on a division rival. I mean,
it's probably the
as much as we hate the team's success. There's players on all teams that I'm fans of. I just don't want their team to be successful.
Okay, first off, right here. So yes, he may have had him in the first game, but in the second game against Pat Surtain, he was only 4 catches, 38 yards. So
who was his? Well, it doesn't matter who he's throwing to, but
I'm just saying, man. Like
that's still better than most receivers do against Pat Surtain.
That is true.
I mean, it's not
true.
Did get forced. Wait, is that the game where Brock Bowers went out with an injury?
No, I mean if he did, it's practice.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay.
All right. So I actually appreciate this question from the Cheesehead and Bear Pod.
Yep.
I really appreciate it. Honestly, it could go either way. Brock Bowers had a dominating rookie season for a tight end. Ladd McConkey had a great rookie season with a run-first Los Angeles Chargers team. You know, the Raiders, as we know, added Genty in the draft. Also drafted wide receiver Jack Beck. Sorry.
Did you call him?
Did I hear that right? Did you call him?
No, I
think you added a couple extra letters to that name.
You know how he feels about Raider players now.
And big body Dante Thornton Jr., who, you know, I've actually been really big on this offseason. The Chargers brought back Mike Williams, who is going to play more like a veteran role, but they also signed Najee Harris, then drafted Omarion Hampton and Trey Harris. Both players won't have the same volume as last season, I don't think. I think Brock Bowers will have a little more yards than Ladd. They both have over 1,000 yards. But due to the fact that the Raiders are going to have to throw the ball more, Brock Bowers will finish just a little bit more receiving yards than Ladd McConkey.
And I still
they're going to be airing it out because they're behind in every game.
Is that what? Oh, okay.
There it is.
Coming from the last place Chargers.
Last place. Okay.
With Jack Bitch on their team.
Oh, I forgot to put up that cool little graphic. There's more receiving yards this season. My bad. I forgot to put up a graphic.
I know you worked hard on this and you didn't even show it.
I know.
looks
Like
good.
I'm kind of disappointed in myself.
See, this is why we appreciate Corey for his hosting duties.
This is why we appreciate Corey for his hosting duties. This is my first time, guys. I'm still learning it, but we're gonna get it.
And you're doing a damn good job. Don't let anyone tell you differently.
And I don't appreciate Corey in his hosting duties.
And real quick, I will say on the Brock Bowers thing, 5 touchdowns on 112 catches. Like he's got to, like that's got to go up a little bit. I think
That's a quarterback thing, though.
Yeah.
And coaching.
Because the Raiders are not in the red zone very often, and when they were, they had the worst red zone conversion rate, even on field goals and touchdowns. So, and a lot of that is play calling, because to start the year we had Luke Getsy, and then we had whoever the interim was in boot of that. AP, of course, defensive guy, so he's not really on the offensive side to really push that. And a lot of your guys' points as to why Brock will probably have another good season is because, he's such a highlighted offensive weapon. But I could, like I said, this is why I was making the argument, and to piggyback on you a little bit, Austin, which is I think like fantasy-wise, Brock Bowers might do better because I can see the Raiders getting into more red zone opportunities and converting a little bit better. But even Brock Bowers' touchdowns, half of these were like breakaways from, having a throw in the middle against the Broncos and him turning up field and going for a touchdown. And again, there's only 5 out of 112 receptions. In terms of a ratio, that's not great at all. Like those are a lot of, either garbage or very little in the red zone.
Yeah. No, I agree. But to me, it's going to sound weird, but I think this was his floor.
Sure.
That's fair.
Just given what he had, we talk about situations, right? He went into arguably one of the worst situations someone could go into, right? No good quarterback, no good coaching, and still managed to have a record-breaking year. So I don't know. I guess I might have a little favoritism again because he's a tight end, but I think we're going to be talking in about 9 to 10 years about the new greatest tight end to ever play the game.
until Evan Ingram has 1,500 yards and 20 touchdowns this year.
Is that before or after?
Wow.
Is that
There
before or
it
after
is.
he's out for the season with an injury?
Look, we're not talking about Max Crosby. We're talking about Evan Ingram, all right? We're a winning
Evan
team.
Ingram? I'm sorry, how
Whoa.
many games did Ingram miss last year? Was it like
Moving on.
9?
He was on my fantasy team, and it was like all of them.
Yeah.
Because even when he played, he was missing.
Yeah, so let's put him in a city that has high altitude. That'll fix everything.
And one of the
He just
best.
didn't want to be in Jacksonville.
Yeah,
and
nobody
Those
wants to be in Jacksonville. I get it.
Their strength and conditioning team is one of the tops, and I'm confident that they'll make it work.
Okay, so what would be the line for like when Ingram gets out with an injury? Is it like before week 5, after week 5 is when the injuries start? What do you think?
Oh,
I'm going after week 10.
You think week
after
10?
week 10.
I say he starts the season on the injury list,
Hey,
like
we're not-
game
we're
time
not
decision.
We're not talking about this. We're gonna not talk this into existence.
Cody, I want to make sure you
Move
heard.
the hell on.
Cody, I want to make sure you heard, though, that even as a Chiefs fan and with all the tight ends we had, that I said Brock Bowers at the end of his career will be the best tight end to ever play the game. I want to make sure you heard that,
I did.
that I can throw love your way.
I know. I appreciate that. Like I said, you're a closeted Raiders fan, and I appreciate it.
No, closet Bowers fan. Well, I guess not closet anymore. Like I'm jumping out for Brock Bowers, but
You're coming out for this one.
yeah, correct him on Twitter. But no, Brock Bowers is a unicorn, man. I love everything about him. I hope he goes off against the Chiefs and continues not scoring touchdowns that week. But I don't know, man. I love Brock Bowers.
All right. There you have it, guys. This is why it's called the War Room, because you don't know what's going to happen. All right. Corey and Cody just kind of random decided to go rounds in the middle of a segment. I love it.
Wasn't intentional. I was just asking a question.
Oh no! Hey, it's
Entries
the
on
War
people.
Room. We're gonna have debates like that.
Yeah.
And also,
All right.
Cody Carson Palmer is not in here, you jagaloon.
Oh yeah,
Wait,
hey Matt.
the treasured number 3 Oakland Raiders jersey isn't in there.
Me. Don't you put that evil on me.
What right now, I mean, would be a great time for Matt to open your little gift.
And only if it's good, we want you to tell you who sent it to you. Only if it's good, though.
Yeah. I told my brother it was going to be an autographed Brody Croyle jersey.
It said Desquarius Jackson or Hingle McCringleberry. So,
all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, Shovik Sports had a giveaway for hitting 1,000 followers on Instagram. Lucky Matt here was the winner, and he is going to bless us with opening it and presenting it to us in a matter of moments as soon as he gets the tape off and he can decide if he really wants to display it or not.
Matt, can you confirm that it was still packaged and not open? I don't want people to think this was rigged or like we fixed it or anything.
it was packaged. It was not opened. I just unpackaged it. I'm not mad about it.
He held it up and it was still taped. I saw the tape.
I'm not mad about it. I like the guy. Well, I don't like him, but I think he's talented.
Hold
on. Give you guys one. You guys want to take one more guess? So.
Hang on.
Okay, I want to do this.
Can you hold up the package real quick?
No, he's already opened it, I think.
I already opened it.
No, just hold that up. Yeah, hold that up. I'm going to go with CJ Stroud.
We got CJ Stroud.
Okay.
If he's a current player or not?
He is a current player, and he's in the AFC.
Okay, offense or defense?
Offense.
Oh.
Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson?
Nope. It's not CJ, and it's not Lamar. He's a receiver.
Ooh.
T. Higgins?
What's up?
T. Higgins?
No, not Higgins.
Chase?
He has one Super Bowl.
Well, that's obscure.
and he has one Super Bowl, and he doesn't play for the team he was drafted by anymore.
And that's who he won the Super Bowl with.
Yep, the team he won the Super Bowl with was the team he was drafted by.
It's a Chief player.
It is the Chiefs. Well, it was not anymore.
Yeah, right.
Tyreek Hill. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Tyreek Hill.
Oh, shit. But it's his it's Miami
Dolphins.
jersey. It's
a
Dolphins.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we go. That's a
Let's
clean
go.
one.
Yeah.
Dang.
So, I know Jason has said Joe Namath. I was like, oh, God willing, man. So,
right. Ooh, it wasn't like Brody Croyle or like anything like that.
I half expected it to be Johnny Manziel with my luck, or bad juju because I was picking on Cody to be Carson Palmer or Jamarcus Russell.
I was wondering, are they going to send like an obscure jersey of like he's in the NFL technically, but like was it going to be like an all-pro type of receiver or a Pro Bowl or what?
Like
I'm actually surprised.
Slater.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I'm not mad about it. I like.
All right.
I don't really care for him off the field, but yeah.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
That was a really good giveaway, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Shout out to Shovik Sports, Corey and Austin. Matt, if you're just tuning in, you missed Matt opening up his gift. He won the giveaway on the Shovik Sports Tyreek Hill autographed jersey, Miami Dolphins. It would have been better if it would have been Chiefs, but
for sure.
Oh, I'm sure Austin would have like jumped out of his chair, like, "Hey, you want this jersey? I'll give you this one."
You want a Derek Johnson jersey, bro?
Austin would have overpaid. He would have paid you like $300 for it, probably.
I would probably do it too.
All right, guys. So we have hit the main event of the evening. All right, and this is a question that was presented to us on the post as well from the Pitch Grid Pod, right?
Yes, sir.
He was wondering what is the top 5 all-time AFC West running backs, and I think this is a great question. And I saved it for the very end for this reason: A, because I know it's going to take a little longer, but B, because it's a main event type question. So I got really excited. I do have a couple honorable mentions. I don't know if you guys do, but I did a couple honorable mentions just for the sake of having them. I don't know how you guys feel. If you guys have them, you can say them. If not, then I can just say mine real quick.
Yeah, I don't have any honorable mentions.
I don't. I only
Matt?
did the 5.
Okay.
I have 2, but I think they may have made other people's list. So it's going to make people already question my list before we get to it.
It's your
we were
list.
already
though.
questioning
It's your list. So
All right. Well, my honorable mentions were Marcus Allen and Bo Jackson.
okay.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Honorable mention?
Yeah, what the
All right.
Here we go.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. Okay.
Here we are.
Okay.
This is-
Hang on.
this
I'm gonna let me say something real quick. Austin, I do back you up on the Bo Jackson one.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
one,
The
yes.
only reason I have Bo Jackson as an honorable mention is because he had a very short football career.
Correct.
And so now I want to say that I put Clinton Portis as an honorable mention. And the only reason that I couldn't rank Clinton Portis is because he only played 2 seasons with Denver, but dang, was he ever just so dominant in those 2 seasons.
Well,
He had 3,099 yards, 29 touchdowns, averaged 5.5 yards per carry in both of those seasons. So for me, he's an honorable mention. And I put the Nigerian nightmare, Christian Okoye, as an honorable mention.
I actually
He kind of had a shorter career due to injuries as well. So, but he did lead the league in rushing in 1989 with 1,480 yards and 12 touchdowns. So, I mean, he did have a really good one season.
I actually put Floyd Little as my honorable mention. I think he's not a running back that gets talked about a lot just because he wasn't on the best of Denver Broncos teams, but he's still a Hall of Famer. He was still the workhorse. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't get talked about much, and I really think he should. He was a great running back for the Broncos. So Floyd Little is my honorable mention.
Okay. Rock, paper, scissors. Who wants to get the ranking started? I got to go with Austin just because if he's already put Marcus Allen as an honorable mention, I got to hear his number 5.
You want me to just say 5 or do the whole list?
No. So just do 5, and then
we'll go around.
If anybody else agrees, then they can be like, I voted, and then give their reason why.
Okay. Well, my number 5 is actually Christian Okoye.
Okay.
He's my number 5. Mostly, I'm a Chiefs fan. Kind of one of the first players I ever, outside of Derek Thomas, really remember. Kind of, obviously not watching. That's before my time, but really remember seeing highlights on. But I also have an autographed jersey of my own of his. So he's kind of just a favorite of mine. So that's why he just trying to take the bias out of it. Him and Marcus Allen would have been flipped, but just because he's kind of one of my favorites is why I put him 5.
He's also
does anybody else have Okoye at 5?
No, but I would, but because of that number 5, probably hit stick that Steve Atwater put on
him. Corey, you're number 5.
Yeah, it's Clinton Portis. It was, I get it. It was 2 seasons, but those 2 seasons as a Broncos fan, honestly, if we didn't trade him for Champ Bailey, I would have been super, super sad based on what we gave up. But the fact that Champ Bailey turned into what Champ Bailey obviously was able to do in his career, 29 touchdowns in 2 seasons, I get it. There's going to be other guys on this list that almost had that in the season, obviously. But again, almost and over 3,000 yards in 2 seasons. So what could have been if we would have kept him, we won't know. But what we do know is those 2 years he was pretty dominant.
Mm-hmm. Cody.
So my number 5 was Priest Holmes. And I remember when he broke the rushing touchdown record at the time when it was first done. And to me, what he was able to do over, several seasons, and he only had a 10-year career. And I think that's what's amazing about some of these running backs is they've only been around for 10 years, some of them even less, and very few have been further than that. But Priest Holmes, what he did in that short time was pretty impressive. And, the only memories I really have of him is him in a Chiefs uniform, unfortunately. But he was also like, as soon as he got the ball, he was off to the races. Like, you weren't stopping him. Goal line work, you weren't going to stop him from getting through the goal line. So I have Priest Holmes as my number 5.
Yeah, he played behind one of the best offensive lines ever, too. It's just the perfect marriage.
Yeah.
I actually said Priest Holmes at 5 as well.
Okay.
I think the first time I actually really kind of figured out who Priest Holmes was, it was Jake Plummer's first year as a Bronco, and it was both of them. I want to say both of them were undefeated going into that game. And this is the one where was it Dante Hall? They were going back and forth. Priest Holmes and Clinton Portis were going back and forth with one another. And then at the end of the game, Dante Hall returned the punt, and that was, the end of that matchup right there. But I just remember Priest Holmes was a nightmare for Denver. I hated playing against him. I wish he got to play a little bit longer, but I mean, again, those injuries just kind of were the death of him. But I think he still leads the team, the franchise in rushing yards with just under 6,000 rushing yards in the time that he was there. So Priest Holmes is my number 5.
Well, my number 5 is a Chief. Jamaal Charles. I wasn't sure who I was going to put here at first. Then I remembered how dominant Jamaal Charles was. So I thought putting him at 5 was a good spot. He had a good career for the Chiefs. And even though he played for a division rival, I enjoyed watching what he could do with the ball. Some notable stats: 7,260 yards, 7,260 of his 7,563 yards came while with the Chiefs. He did play one season for the Broncos and one for the Jags, though we won't count that because not an AFC West team, and 2, he only had 6 carries for 7 yards with them. So, but Jamaal Charles comes in. I just remember watching him and just like, oh my gosh, like here we go again. Here's Jamaal Charles, and he's getting the ball and he's going to go score. So for me, it is Jamaal Charles at number 5.
Yeah, no
pushbacks. Okay.
No pushbacks. I still like Jamaal Charles.
All right, moving right along. Let's go, Matt, with your number 4.
So my number 4 is actually going to be Marcus Allen. Again, when you think of the Raiders running backs, I mean, as of earlier or later on or whatever, you have Josh Jacobs, unfortunately, and then he goes to Green Bay. But when you think of the Raiders, you automatically think of Marcus Allen. I think all of us talked last week, and we were taking guesses on the mystery box. We were saying if I got a Raiders jersey, we would all be okay with Marcus Allen. So that one I think I would have been acceptable with. But I mean, he was a key contributor to one of their Super Bowls at least. He racked up just over 12,000 yards in his career. So I think he was a really good running back. But I'm going to put him at 4. So.
Oh,
it's a good place.
Okay. That's a good place. Cody.
So my number 4 is Tim. You're number 5. So Jamaal Charles for me is number 4. And the reason why is because Jamaal Charles came onto the scene like when LT's career was kind of winding down. He had stellar seasons in San Diego at the time, and he was a dual threat then. And Jamaal Charles at the time when he came in 2008, he was just basically an evolved version of that. And, arguably one of the more efficient runners and pass catching running backs that the league had seen at the time. And I think what's impressive is in his career, he has 20 career touchdown receptions as a running back, which is actually 1 less than Marcus Allen and 5 more than LaDainian Tomlinson, who, probably on a lot of our lists is really high. So to me, Jamaal Charles, what he did for the running back position really changed it to how teams now draft players. And again, in a short stint with how he did it, you just said he only did 1 season respectively with the Jaguars and the Broncos, but all of his career stats, essentially 98% of them came from when he was with the Chiefs. And that just, even as up to today's standards, those are very prominent stats and production that he did even in that time. So number 4 for me all time would be Jamaal Charles.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
I also had him at number 4 as well, so I won't waste too much time. But one stat that did stand out was the 5.4 average rushing yards per carry, which is still one of the tops in the NFL still. And if you look at today's running game, if you're averaging 5.4, even 4.5 to 5, that's still absolutely just bonkers. So for him to be able to do it in the short period of time, pigskin party. But yeah, so that's Jamaal Charles was number 4 on mine, and I like that 5.4 average he had in his career.
Yeah.
Austin, yours.
Yeah, my number 4. Sorry, guys. Hopefully you'll understand once I do above this. But
Dear God.
number 4, I have Terrell Davis.
I'm not even gonna respond.
okay.
To that.
Mostly because I don't want to give
I'm
away.
unfriending you.
Yeah, mostly
Wow.
because it was between. I'm just give away my list. There was 2 non-Chiefs running backs that I have on my list, and I wanted to pick between the 2 non-Chiefs here, and it was clearly Terrell Davis. That was really it.
Okay.
I think
My
we're all
number
pretty
4.
shocked by that.
Like I don't need, like I'm supposed to pick my player here at 4, and I don't really know what to say right now because Terrell Davis at 4. But I mean, he did leave Marcus Allen off.
He did. I mean, same guy that left him off. Yeah, you're right. So,
okay. So my number 4 is Priest Holmes. I was going back and forth with him and Jamaal Charles. I couldn't decide. I think Holmes was the better back, just a little bit. But, honestly, I could have put him in the top 3. For now, he is my 4th best AFC West back, unless I can be convinced to put him higher. Austin, I mean, this would be your chance, I guess, to bump him up to 3. But no,
he's number 3 on my list.
So 6,070 yards rushing and 76 touchdowns with the Chiefs. 3 straight 1,400 plus rushing yards and 600 plus receiving yards from 2001 to 2003. He was just a dominant force, and he won Player of the Year in 2002. So, and I didn't even look at all of his accolades, but there's a lot. So Priest Holmes for me, and I just remember he's another one of those backs that, like, I loved watching him until it came time that he was playing the Chiefs, and then I'm like, oh, man, here we go. This is not going to be fun. So I have Priest Holmes at number 4. All right, Corey, why don't you get us started with number 3?
Yeah, this is where I had Marcus Allen. And again, 12,243 career yards, 4.1 average. He did only have 3 1,000-yard seasons, but again, that's not too concerning just based on what he was able to still do. I mean, again, you look at today's running backs, over 12,000 rushing yards is still pretty good, and it speaks volume for himself. So I had Marcus Allen at number 3.
Okay. Any pushback on that? Anybody want to argue? No,
it's a respectable place.
Cody.
So number 3 for me is actually Terrell Davis. And honestly, the stats that he has at 3 is super impressive because really just look at his career is only in a 4-year span. And obviously the final 2 productive years were when the Broncos went back-to-back Super Bowls in 97, 98, if you guys can remember. That was a long time ago.
I still remember.
That was before my
remember it was yesterday.
I still remember him, yeah.
So in 95, he had 1,100 yards, 96, 1,500, 97, 1,700 yards. And then obviously in 98, he had 2,000. And also in his touchdowns, every single year it increased. And unfortunately, his career, we can agree, was cut short with a devastating knee injury, which he was never able to bounce back. So in respect, like, he's number 3 for me because had he had a longer career, he probably would have been one of the better, running backs all time, not just on AFC, but all time in general. And so just for that, out of respect, that's why he's number 3 for me. But I mean, the fact that he was able to do what he did in only 4 years, even though his career was technically 6 years, super impressive.
I actually have Terrell Davis as well, but before I answer that, I want to know, Kyle, why do you want to play poker against Matt? Like, let us know. I did as well pick Terrell Davis as my 3, dominating. He had a short career, but he was very dominant. 7,607 rushing yards, 60 touchdowns, 3 straight seasons, 1,500 plus rushing yards, double digits touchdowns. He won NFL MVP in 1998, where he actually rushed for over 2,000 yards and 21 touchdowns. He also won the Super Bowl MVP in his career. So many team records. So for me, Terrell Davis makes it at 3. So I agree with Cody for once.
Corey, why'd you shake your head when we said 3 for Terrell Davis? You look upset over there.
Because you're the worst.
Matt has subtitles. Interesting.
I have subtitles.
I don't.
Your facial expression gives subtitles.
Oh, I speak English.
Austin, you said your 3 was
Priest Holmes. Yeah, so we just literally flipped 3 and 4, and you guys took me out behind the barn for this. We weren't that far apart on it. And
well, you set the expectation when you left off Marcus Allen in general, I think is what you set the precedent on that. And now we're like, okay, what's your list again? I'm waiting for you to say, I'm waiting for you to tell us some obscure name that we haven't heard of at number 2. And I wouldn't even be surprised if LT is number 2 for you.
He's probably an honorable mention.
Yeah,
LT didn't make the list.
But again, up until Holmes, Marcus Allen was a Chiefs running back legend. So
he was a Raider though. So
he was. He's more known for what he did as a Raider than as a Chief. But
I have 0 Raiders on my list, so I just
stand on business, I guess.
Yeah,
the hate is real with him.
I was about to put Darren McFadden, but
McFadden.
Wow.
Or Napoleon Kaufman.
There we go. Yeah, no, I put Priest.
Hey. You just took my number 1 running back. All right, calm down. Matt, who is your number 3, real quick?
So first off, I'm not much of a poker player, and I'm more of a blackjack guy. So, have fun with that one. But no, my number 3 is actually Clinton Portis, and I know he had 2 years. I know he had 2 years, and to be honest, when they traded him for Champ Bailey, honestly, if I didn't know what Champ Bailey was going to become, I probably wouldn't have been as upset as I was. But if you look at Clinton Portis' career, he held 17 franchise records up until 2017, and the guy was drafted in 2002. So that's 15 years of records that were never broken. He was also the youngest player to score 5 touchdowns in a game against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was the youngest player to do that, and I think that's still in the record books today. As he's the youngest player to score 5 touchdowns in a single game. So that's why, with what he was able to do, the Rookie of the Year, I really wish Denver had kept him, but with what he was able to do, the franchise records, the 5 touchdowns in one game, I put him at 3 there.
I think we go back to last week and what we were talking about last week, and what Mike Shanahan was able to do with running backs. I think that's why they were so comfortable making that move, is because he knew he could just plug in a random dude. He literally plugged in Peyton Hillis and just let the dude feast. So it was just
Browns legend Peyton Hillis.
Yeah, man. So it's just kind of like one of those where, and I agree, it's easy to look back now and say, oh, it was for Champ Bailey. Cool. But at the time, I remember it. I remember where I was at. I was like, what is going on? This dude just came off a damn good season. So respect, Matt. Love it.
And to your point, Corey, they ended up drafting Tatum Bell with the pick along with Trent, and Tatum Bell honestly didn't have a bad year.
No,
so.
Yeah, no. When they traded him, I was just like, oh, glad to see him out of the division. But man, it was a lot of fun to watch him play. So
just got a Hall of Fame cornerback in return. No big deal.
All right, we're down to the top 2. The top 2, guys. You don't want to go anywhere. Make sure you're liking and subscribing to the channel, all of the channels that are live, and the AFC West War Room on YouTube, guys. Let's go. You know what, Cody? I don't think you started, so why don't you start with the number 2 ranking?
All right. Well, kind of alluded to it in the last one. Let's go with the Raiders and Chiefs legend Marcus Allen at number 2 for me. Over 12,000 career rushing yards, 123 total touchdowns, Super Bowl MVP, 6-time Pro Bowler. What more is there to say? Literally a legend for 2 respected franchises in the Raiders and the Chiefs, which is why I'm kind of shocked that Austin doesn't want him on his list. But, if it's a no Raiders thing, I get it. No fault. I was able to look past my bias and put 2 Chiefs on. But if you want to just stand on business and say no Raiders, I get it. But for me, number 2 is Marcus Allen.
He got tired of you calling him a closet Raiders fan, so he just wanted to make sure that
he responded accordingly.
He's like, not a closet Raiders fan.
I had to say way too many nice things about your team. Your receiving tight end.
Who else put Marcus Allen at number 2?
Nope.
Nah.
Nobody? Okay. I did as well. So Cody, it looks like we're agreeing a lot tonight. That's crazy.
Who would have thought a Chargers and a Raiders fan?
The bottom.
I know. Well, a Chief and a Charger got along last week, so it had to happen this week with the Raiders.
Yeah.
I guess.
You're not the same person without your mustache, Tim. I need you to put it back on.
No. You know, I like it. I got a fresh haircut. And, you know, I look better than I did last week. So.
And we all know Tim's number 1 is Hampton, so we can skip him on that.
Yeah. You know,
hasn't even rushed the ball yet. Number 1.
Yeah, I picked Ashton Jency. No, but my number 2 is Marcus Allen as well. You know, like Cody said, NFL MVP in 1985. He rushed for 1,759 yards and 11 touchdowns that season. 67 catches, 555 yards, and 3 touchdowns. So great career for Marcus Allen. And, you know, there's not a lot else that I can say that my man Cody here didn't say already. So let's go with Matt.
So at number 2 for me is LaDainian Tomlinson. I mean, I think when you think of the Chargers, LaDainian Tomlinson is the only one that really that comes to mind there. 12,490 yards.
You had him at number 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what we all heard too.
I just wanted to make sure. I was like, damn, I didn't get my number 2 in. Let me back. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep. No, LaDainian Tomlinson is my number 2. I just I hated playing against him. And look, when you guys are making those faces, I can't focus. All right. Yeah, I need you to get your poker faces on.
Matt, if it makes you feel better, it's also my number 2.
What the? Thank you. Yeah. Fuck you, and fuck you.
Oh, hey, beep.
Anyway.
I couldn't hit my censor button fast enough. I apologize.
I thought we could. Isn't this America? But no, it's just
good show.
Right. But when you think of the Chargers, particularly their offense, LaDainian Tomlinson's really the only one that comes to mind. Shut up. And I hated playing against him when he was in San Diego. I hated playing against him. And if you want to look at his off the field leadership as well, one of the things, fun fact about him is he would take 21 children from 21 orphanages around San Diego, and then he would bring them to the Chargers. Is that me?
No, was that Shaq or Kobe talking?
Shaq didn't like the F-bombs.
I mean, look, guys,
See?
I'm in the Navy. I'm allowed to cuss. It's in the Geneva Convention. Anyway, he would take. I agree. Anyway, he would take 21 children from 21 different orphanages around San Diego, and he would bring them to Chargers games. So that speaks volumes about how he was not just on the field, but off the field as well. So.
No,
go ahead. Let me have it.
No,
Go ahead.
agree.
No. Austin, go ahead and why you put LT at number 2 because
I really only put him there because I feel like everyone was going to have him on the list, but like truth be told, he's not even that good.
Stop.
I'm kidding. No, he's numbered like arguably one of the better running backs that's ever touched a football field. I just refuse to have a non-chief number 1. So yeah, that gives away someone that's going to be number 1 for me. But yeah, I hated LT.
He's going to put Marcus Allen, the chief, at number 1. He didn't play for the Raiders. He put it for the Chiefs.
Yeah, Marcus Allen.
God.
Truth be told, though, I mean, LT is just one of the better. I think we touched on it earlier. He kind of brought the new style of running backs before it was a thing, right? So hated playing against him. Dude really could do it all. It's unfortunate he had to play for the Chargers and really accomplish no postseason anything in his career. But honestly, one of the greatest all-time running backs, period. Just for my list, I'm obviously not going to have a not chief number 1. But LT gets all the respect in the world. Is just one of the better running backs to ever play. Just for my list, had to be number 2.
Austin or Corey, you're number 2. Sorry, I'm just so can't believe he just
you're so biased.
Him and Matt both
Well, it does kill me that I don't have LT at number 2, obviously, but it does kill me. Terrell Davis at number 2 for me. He will still always be one of my favorite Bronco players outside of Demaryius Thomas. But all I'm going to say with it is 2,008 yards, 21 touchdowns. I mean, that stood for a long time. So, and again, I would kill for the Broncos to even have half of what he was able to do. Where Matt and I are sitting here begging for just 100-yard rushing game. So
for real.
So we obviously had running back after running back after running back, but none of them will ever be Terrell Davis and what he was able to accomplish. So again, for that's why he was unfortunately my number 2. But again, number 1's pretty obvious.
Oh my goodness. All right, guys, this is the AFC West War Room. I represent the Chargers. My man Corey and Matt represent the Broncos. My man Cody represents the Raiders. And there's a weird little guy that represents the Chiefs.
Hi.
Taylor Swift's.
Make sure you're liking and subscribing, guys. And let us know what you think about the rankings so far. Do you agree with any of us, or are we all crazy? I know one is for sure.
A show.
All right, so we got the number 1 ranking, and I mean, it's obviously a 3-2 split here. So we're going to go non-LT guys first.
All right.
So
I'll take
Austin, the floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm gonna take this. The Kansas City Chiefs, Marcus out. No, I'm kidding. My number 1 for me was Jamaal Charles. Most electric running back that's ever touched a football field. He did it on really bad Chiefs teams, really bad offensive line. His time with the Chiefs, he actually averaged 5.5 yards per carry, which would have been the most all time. And he did that on a poor team. Nope. I mean, he was on bad teams and he was still doing this. Even against the Raiders, when he put up 300 receiving yards and 20 rush yards, he was just unguardable, even when you knew he was the only one you had to guard. So for me, the most electric running back that's ever touched football field, had the most yards per carry during his time with the Chiefs in NFL history. And he's number 1 on my list because he's a Chief.
Oh, man. Okay. Matt, the floor is yours.
I think you guys kind of already know where I'm going to go with this, and it's going to be my guy, Broncos legend, Terrell Davis. I mean, just what he was able to do. And Terrell Davis in his prime was unstoppable. You know, his career was definitely cut short due to injuries, but I mean, when he was in his prime, he was unstoppable. And you know me, I like to give out my little Snapple facts, my fun facts, but in Super Bowl 32, he actually had a migraine halfway through the Super Bowl, and he was telling Mike Shanahan, I can't see. So Mike was like, can you run straight? Yeah, I can run straight. He's like, good, run straight. And, you know, how many other running backs have won Super Bowl MVP with a migraine when you can't see? So, you know, for those reasons and what he was able to do, you know, like Corey said, there will never be another Terrell Davis in Denver. I know Philip Lindsay, he brought back that mile-high salute, but again, without number 30, you know, there is no mile-high salute. So,
yeah.
You know, I feel like I heard you actually say that before. Maybe you said it on another show that I was listening to. Maybe you said it on one of your posts. But
it was
I really feel like I was like, man, I really feel like this is deja vu. I definitely feel like I heard Matt say, just run forward. So
just run straight.
You know, just run straight, run forward. It's all the same.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you, Matt, for respectfully putting your homer at number 1.
Whoa. Come on now.
And Austin for putting yours at number 1.
It's not like Terrell Davis was a slouch. Come on.
He's not a slouch, but
I was on record that said he probably could have been one of the top running backs in history had his career not been cut short. I'm on record of saying that.
Yeah,
his
no,
career
I'm not
in
taking
4
anything away
years
from him.
Is top tier.
And let's be honest, I don't think a running back has been named. Now, the rankings, you can say what you want, but I don't think there's been a running back named who could go down as a slouch. Like, we've all named some all-time greats here.
Yeah.
Like, nobody did put on like a McFadden or like a Darren Sproles, like really good running backs, right? But just like not legends.
Mhm.
Like, the rankings you can argue with, obviously. I'm looking at my list. But I think everyone who's been named has definitely been deserving of it.
Yeah. Why they have a concussion protocol. Yeah.
All right, Cody. I mean, we already know you're number one. Just kind of want to hear your quick. My take is long, just so you know. But I mean,
well, I'll save some time then. It's LT. I even named him as one of my more nostalgic players on our last episode in the AFC West. So LT is number one. I mean, he used to tear up my Raiders for several seasons, and I just remember him always in the end zone and really nothing else after that. I can't remember a game where we ever stopped him or came close. LT was also unstoppable. He was in another stratosphere at the time. And this is before the age of Jamaal Charles, where LT was doing it like one of the first running backs to ever do it. And I think he was the first running back in NFL history to have 100 receptions and 1,000 yards rushing, if I'm not mistaken. Like, he was one of the first running backs ever do that in NFL history. And he did that early in his career too. So that's all I'll say. Just LT's number one. I mean, he was an offensive powerhouse at the running back position.
I mean, I say mine's long, but I went into detail about some of his stats. That's all. Corey.
Yeah. So, I mean, go back to last week's episode. I talked about LT and obviously having dreams of LT playing with Mike Shanahan and his system. So again, that's partially where I'm at again. I'm still on that of, I wish we would have seen LT with Mike Shanahan. I mean, obviously we could look at the 8 seasons of 1,000 rush yards, what he was able to do, the 28 touchdowns, obviously. So again, I mean, real recognize real, honestly. I mean, I love Terrell Davis and I love that. It was, again, number one was pretty easy.
Yeah. Well, apparently it wasn't, because the guy sitting to your right, and Matt here, I mean, they're like in a different stratosphere or something, because both of them didn't put LT at number one. LT, like, if you guys don't know, like, if you guys haven't heard the story, these fellas have, but if you haven't heard the story, LaDainian Tomlinson is the whole reason I'm a Chargers fan to begin with. I didn't have a favorite team growing up. I lived in the heart of Chief Kingdom, just like 2 hours south of Kansas City. And everybody's like, oh, you got to have a favorite team. Well, I didn't want to be like everybody else and root for the Chiefs because, everybody in my hometown did. So I was watching LT in college, and he rushed for 406 yards at TCU. And I was like, hey, whoever drafts him, that's who I'm taking. And it just happened to be the Chargers. So, I mean, I could have easily been a Raider fan or a Bronco fan or a Chief fan if he would have went there. Just so you guys know. But, yeah, my number one is LT. And this should come as no surprise, Austin and Matt. One of the best running backs of all time. I wish he would have stayed a Charger for his whole career, obviously. He had 8 straight seasons over 1,000 yards rushing, with 7 straight seasons with 1,200-plus rushing yards. Tomlinson led the league in rushing in back-to-back years in 2006 and 2007. Also led the league in rushing touchdowns at the same time, with a record-breaking 28 touchdowns in 2006. That season was special for LT, as he had 31 total touchdowns, 33 if you want to count his passing touchdowns. He did have 2 passing touchdowns that season. So, if you want to count that, he would have 33. Speaking of passing touchdowns, Tomlinson completed 8 of 12 passes for 143 yards and 7 touchdowns in his career with the San Diego Chargers. I'm not going to say Los Angeles because they were the San Diego Chargers, and they will forever be the San Diego Chargers in my book. But, Tomlinson only had 1 season with them where he didn't rush for over 1,000 yards. He has 13,684 career rushing yards. 12,490 of that was with the Chargers, of course, before he went to the Jets. 145 career rushing touchdowns, 138 with the Chargers. Tomlinson was a lot of fun to watch. If you didn't get to watch him in prime LT, then you missed out. You definitely missed out on a good running back. So prime LT was like nothing else. And he finished with 5 Pro Bowls, three-time first team All-Pro, NFL MVP in 2006. So a lot of accolades that I could literally continue on with, but I'm not going to. You guys get the picture. LaDainian Tomlinson is the greatest running back of all time in the AFC West.
Nah.
Let him know, Jack. So, Tim, I got a question for you. So it doesn't sound like you're happy with the Chargers moving from San Diego to LA, right?
No, not
okay,
at all.
So, and I will speak for me as a Raiders fan. I wanted the Raiders to go back to LA again for the second time. But again, like LA is like obviously full of Raider fans. And so moving the Raiders to Las Vegas is just very tough in the California market and audience. So I'm curious, would you have rather the Chargers move to Las Vegas, or would you have still wanted them to move to LA since they were leaving San Diego?
Oh, is there a third option? Because, I don't know if Las Vegas would be much better. I mean, the only thing that would be better at Las Vegas is they would have their own stadium versus, in LA having to share a stadium with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately, I wish they would just move to St. Louis. I mean, it would be just like
the St. Louis Chargers.
Yeah, just like a 3-hour drive for me. So it'd be like a local team, and I'd actually get to see a home game. So I think it would be a lot of fun.
A year ago, I predicted in 5 years that the Chargers would be here in St. Louis. So we still have time.
Hey, I mean, Dean Spanos, come on, make it happen. It's not going to happen anytime soon, unfortunately. But if they did, I would be ecstatic. So
no, the Chargers. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, so fun fact, I mentioned that I didn't want to be a Chief fan because everybody else was around me. I decided that I did need to root for a local team, but obviously already being a Chargers fan, I couldn't be a Chief fan. So I was like, hey, I'm going to start rooting for the Rams. And then they moved from St. Louis to LA. And I was like, are you kidding me right now?
I do have kind of a random question. I didn't give you guys a heads up because I really wanted you guys to raw dog this question.
We're going to raw dog it.
No, so we all know the Seahawks left the AFC West early 2000s, and that was right before Sean Alexander's prime. Would Sean Alexander had made any of your guys' top 5 if his career would have been done in the AFC West?
Yeah.
It depends on what team he would have been with.
Still the Seahawks.
Yeah, I mean, the Seahawks were the AFC West.
Right.
Yeah.
Until
I feel like I would have given him an honorable mention, but I don't know if he's up there with the group of guys we all named.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd say like honorable mention, like Larry Johnson is an honorable mention, but again, he had a couple of seasons where he was just as unstoppable as Priest Holmes. Obviously, not as much of a touchdown machine. What up, podcast Smitty? But I would say like Sean Alexander was a serviceable running back. Like he was consistent. Like I would argue that he was probably Nick Chubb before Nick Chubb, but I don't know if that means that he's in the top 5 of all time running backs, because I mean, even if we expanded it to number 6, he wouldn't have made number 6. I'd still have a guy above him. So, I don't know. I think he's a solid running back, but I don't know about all time in the AFC West.
Because I believe, wasn't it him and LT and Priest Holmes, they were kind of taking turns each year of like breaking each other's touchdown records.
Yeah, because it went like, I think it went Priest Holmes, it went Alexander, and then Holmes again, and then LT then broke that record.
Yep.
Yeah, that was like a nice prime era of running backs. But yeah, I was curious. I had Sean Alexander thought of first, and I had to go look at the timeline, and it was like his first year with like 300 yards. He was in the AFC West. And then when he blew up was the years that he left the AFC West. So I'm like, he's not going to count. But I was just kind of curious on that.
I think I probably would have him somewhere. I don't know. Like I'd have to flip a coin, I guess, to compare like him and Priest Holmes or him and Jamaal Charles. But yeah, I mean, he would have definitely fit in right there in the 4 or 5 spot for me if he would have been in the AFC West.
Yeah,
all right.
One of my honorable mentions. I guess I didn't answer my own question on that, but yeah.
Matt's trying to catch up with his subtitles.
I am. I guess. I don't know.
No. Guys, you guys have anything else? I mean, I think this has been a great show.
It's definitely been a lot of fun. It went by really quick. I'm actually really excited for what's coming in the next few weeks that we've been scheduling offline and, behind the scenes that people won't know, but announcements will be coming soon. And Podcast Media, yeah, Christian actually was mentioned earlier in the segment, but
he was on my list, Podcast Media. I got
he
you.
was, but also he left off Marcus Allen, so don't give him too much credit.
Yeah, don't give him any credit.
Yeah,
But Marcus Allen.
But I will say, like, the next upcoming episodes, and I'm sure everyone will agree that the next future episodes coming up, we have some special guests that are pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'm really curious to see what the next few episodes are coming. And the regular season hasn't even gotten here yet, and it's already getting hostile around here, and I'm for it.
Oh yeah, it's hostile already. Week 1 when Chiefs and Chargers in Brazil. I mean, you don't want to miss that episode for sure. But if you haven't already, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, guys. You don't want to miss the War Room on a weekly. Matt, what do you got to say to close us out?
I mean, again, part of my language. I know I dropped a couple F-bombs there, but you have to forgive me. I've been in the military for 17 years. It's very hard to contain myself.
I don't think it's in the budget yet. We have got to we got to ask for it.
My wife is the censor button, so
all good podcast, Mitty.
So I do apologize for those F-bombs, but again, this is but it's all unscripted. As you guys see, it's all unscripted. This is raw emotion. This is raw feeling. These are 5 guys with a passion for our teams, passion for sports, and again, we're armchair coaches that know what we're talking about, though. I can say that.
100%.
Yeah, I've made some really awesome Madden dynasties, so I'm very knowledgeable. Okay.
Do you guys? Okay, hold on. Before we close out the show, and Tim, we probably have the same thought. There was a few years ago where there was a guy that applied for an NFL head coaching job. Yes. He had no head coaching experience except that he had won the Super Bowl in his dynasty league for Madden 7 years in a row. He had given his playbook of plays and stuff and argued why he would be the best selected head coach. And I was like, that guy at least deserves an interview. I mean, to just have a playbook of what he did and that was his resume, I think that's at least worth an interview.
Was that not Appalachian State or something in college? I mean,
I thought it was a pro team, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought it was pro as well.
Yeah, well, I thought it was for the Browns or something.
There's definitely been 2 different instances because I do remember Appalachian State just had their job opening either this past season or the year before, and the guy's well, I took this team in Dynasty, I picked Appalachian State in Dynasty and I rebuilt them. So I should be able to rebuild, the real Appalachian State. So
no, that reminds me, you guys remember Sycamore Bishop when they were we have 16 D1 5-star recruits and no one had ever heard of these guys. So they televised, ESPN televised the game with an actual number 1 ranked team and they just got destroyed.
Yeah.
Cody over there with the go on get.
I was like, hey, get away.
No, what I was actually going to say, Cody, is you guys remember, I think it was the Gridiron Gang, and yes. They were all sitting there talking, and the kid goes, yo, I play Madden. I'd be great at quarterback.
Oh, yeah, and he couldn't throw the ball. Yeah.
Yeah.
Corey.
Yeah, no, hey, to reiterate what Cody said, these next couple of weeks are going to be can't miss stuff. I know when we were able to talk about it over the last couple of days of who we have coming on the next 2 weeks, this is going to take our show. This is what we wanted to do with this show. So I'm not ready to kind of give up who's coming on in the next 2 weeks.
You're going to have to tune in. You're going to have to tune in and find out.
And
stay locked in.
We'll let you all know at some point, but we may just end up saying, hey,
surprise guest
the next 2 weeks. But just know that we've been working really hard. Again, it goes back to what we're doing behind the scenes and what we're trying to do to come up with this content. I've been reaching out to some former players. Again, I'm not going to be the guy who says, hey, I've gotten responses from all of them. No, not yet. But I do think as we start getting these special guests on and who we have coming on, that's going to help us in the future of where we're going with this show. And this is a huge step for what we want to do. So again, that's hats off to these guys and what they're able to do. And again, if you guys could just see what we're doing behind the scenes and coming up with the agenda and the rundown of the show, it's been top notch and it's been fun. So stay tuned, really.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm just gonna kind of just point out what Cody and my brother said. They're absolutely correct. And then all the work that all of the other ones do that's not me. I'm kind of just like the team morale guy. Whether it's bringing it up or bringing it down, I'm controlling that meter one way or the other. But I really just want to the fans, the followers, subscribers, all the comments. You know, half the show tonight was with questions that you guys posted that we were like, these are awesome. That's a huge reason why I like this. I like the interactions. I like the different point of views. I like other people's opinions. Keep them coming. I would love for us to at least get one question or statement, or, you know, even if you have some like surprise bold prediction for the season or a player, I'd love to at least get one of those on each week, because interacting with you guys is one of my favorite things. It again, great content for it tonight. Those 2 questions. It had at one point my brother and Cody ready to actually get locked in a cage together. So it was good stuff. That's my favorite part. So again, not only a thank you to all of you, to what you guys do for the show, but the fans, followers, subscribers who comment and have fun with us. It's greatly appreciated, and I can't wait to see where we end up with y'all.
Well said, boys. I'm going to close this out real quick, guys. Like I said, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Follow the individual channel. Answer the Call, Shovik Sports, Drew Code Sports Talk, OC News 365, on all the social media, here on YouTube, on Spotify. But, you know, just reach out. If you have a question, we will answer it. You know, we answered 2 fan questions on the stream tonight. And I really got to say, like, I was really excited for this, guys, because, you know, the fans interacted. They were posting their questions. And big shout out to Cheesehead and Bear Pod and the Pitch Grid Pod for your questions. We were happy to answer them. But, guys, I mean, you know, you can reach out to any of our socials when we have a post that is you have a question that you want answered. We will answer it. Also, make sure the AFC West War Room YouTube channel and socials, all social media, AFC West War Room. Make sure you're following everywhere. You don't want to miss any of the action, guys, because this is episode 4. We have big guests coming on, like the boys just said, and the season's right around the corner. So if we're ready to be locked in a cage now, imagine what's going to happen week 1, week 7, come playoff time. It's going to be a lot of fun around here at the War Room. I'm Tim from Answer the Call. Boys, thanks for tuning in, and have a good night.